Hey everyone, the name is Erik Thor, and many years ago I came across this post on the INFJ's many different subtypes written by now banned Adimus from Podler. This is actually before Podler days or during the starting of it all, I'm not exactly sure. Before they started this cult where they started discussing the INFJ and the different personality types from their body language and from the different subtypes and how people learn to use the cognitive functions. I think you'll find this post fascinating, and I want you to use it just to get a glimpse of how INFJs can come off in so many different colors. I want to show you different subtype examples by showing you real INFJs that have developed their different functions and abilities, INFJs that have come to specialize within certain of the INFJ's many abilities. Adimus himself saw a wide range of different subtypes, from the academic, who he listed as, for example, Professor Charles Xavier from X-Men, from Carl Jung, Paul Ekman, and Dr. Drew. He listed also the method actor, and here he said a person that invents a character and channels that character. For example, Song in Madame Butterfly, Kirk Lazarus, Sacha Baron Cohen, and anyone who can properly play Master of the Masks prestige class in Dungeons of Dragons. He lists the guru, and he here places the Jesus here, but note that he says if any Christians are reading this, he's totally kidding. If not, yeah. So also beyond this, he lists Dalai Lama, Timothy Leary, and Thich Nhat Hanh. He also beyond this puts out that there are also false gurus here. Some INFJs are teaching basically bullshit, while others actually have something relevant to say, and the false guru would be, for example, Yas Muhin, Harley Swiftair, Regan, crackpots, I guess, in some way or form. He lists the Cobra, another interesting subtype, someone who is quite a visionary, someone who uses NI and FE for manipulative purposes, being playful and seductive to get people to disarm themselves or loosen up, all the while keeping a close NI look on what's going on, drinking in as much information as possible with SE, and reserving their actions until their NI tells them the perfect time to strike. Here he puts, for example, Björk, and he puts Colonel Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards, Jarlax Seal, Binray from Forgotten Realms, the Dark Elf Saga, man this guy's a nerd, and Bill from Kill Bill. Beyond this, there is the Gypsy King, where he lists Sean Spencer, John Edwards, and Chris Angel. And I've actually been quite fascinated with Chris Angel and with magicians like these, and how they use manipulation and trickery and so on to con people or to portray themselves as magicians or people with special abilities, but sometimes also for good, surprising people, doing tricks that nobody has ever been able to do before, catching bullets. I don't know what kind of crazy shit these people want to try. He lists the revolutionary INFJ as V for Vendetta, Dristor Durden, Che Guevara, Martin Luther King. He lists also on the other side of this coin the Destroyer of Worlds, the Joker, Rorschach, Tyler Durden from Fight Club, Light Yagami from Death Note. By the way, I'm really hyped for the Netflix Death Note reboot. Then Gigi Allen and Hitler, another controversial INFJ pick. Finally, he lists the SP Vannaby. And here he takes the comedian from Watchmen and Henry Rollins and Gigi Allen again. So he basically wants to show you that depending on which function you go into and develop, you can bring out different qualities of being an INFJ into the world. You can show yourself from angles that other INFJs won't. And when you compare each other's, you might even not recognize each other's in each other's, because you'll see that You've gone in such a different path. You've chosen a different life path for yourself, and we can all choose. We can all make decisions on how we want to live. Our type is not a box, it's not a restriction, it's not meant to trap us or imprison us. It's only meant to show us what different roads are available to us. And we have many different roads we could possibly take, all shown through studying the cognitive functions. Now I want you to be very careful here, because Adimus is clearly feeding into a power trip for all the INFJs out there. He's clearly making you feel good about yourself, making you feel like you have all this power in you and that you can become the next Hitler, Jesus, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King, or whatever you want to be. I want to instead show you some more human INFJ examples, because most of us are human. Most of us don't have that extreme intelligence, empathy, and high abilities shown in the examples he gave. Now, an INFJ I think he misses out on, and an important one at that, is the delinquent. The INFJ that is a little more towards the swag side of the personality spectrum. The delinquent is an INFJ with a little more swag, in the sense that they move their bodies with a lot of confidence, an unusual amount of confidence for an INFJ. They speak with a voice that is very, very radio show-like. They speak often in a way that commands and drives respect and admiration from other people. These INFJs tend to be very admired and very popular overall with people. They seem ambitious, they seem often more serious than the normal INFJ, less animated, less expressive, but still very high in energy, high in enthusiasm, easily amused, constantly, perpetually amused, really. And still, in a way, very private, often mainly impersonal with others, rarely sharing of their inner lives or inner emotional experiences. Now, these ENTJs are, in so many ways, carrying a sensitive version of themselves around. You can see that they have a sensitive side, a deeper side, a more intense side, beyond that strong persona that they can hold on to in the face of other people. Now, one of the key INFJ gifts, and the key gift of the delinquent INFJ, is this ability to become your vision. As this INFJ, all you have to do is really channel that energy of being that kind of person. Step into that role, step into that idea, become that idea. Hone yourself, see yourself in the future, see who you want to be, and work tirelessly, effortlessly, without becoming distracted, without becoming let down towards that goal. Another common INFJ variation is the ESFJ, the performer INFJ, prone to somewhat of overwhelm and a little of being drained by their outward persona on stage. These are the much more interpersonal focused INFJs. They are great at reading people, gifted at being accommodating and creating a good atmosphere around them. They have that ability to talk and sell an idea to other people, to get people towards a situation and to sell thoughts to others. They can be described as sometimes a little manipulative, but in other ways charismatic. The ESFJ INFJ is a gifted communicator, just like Björk here, a gifted performer, good entertainer, great for managing groups, managing people, making people feel at home around them. The surprising thing about the ESFJ INFJ is that these kinds of performers often find themselves channeling a persona on stage, for the sake of others, for the sake of communication, for the sake of understanding and helping other people in some way or form. But if you would meet them in real life, if you would meet them, talk to them face to face, you'd find yourself surprised by how calm they appear, by how awkward at times that they can appear, because there is such a difference between that outward persona and that real INFJ. Now let's get to know Noam Chomsky, INFJ and the INTP subtype. Here we see an INFJ that has truly developed himself on that level of philosophy, theory, musing, thinking carefully, elaborating, diving deeply into understanding the world from a philosophical standpoint. Then when an INFJ goes so far into introversion and intuition, what you'll see is an introvert and intuitive with a lot of energy, but not that outward bubbly energy, not attention as much as high theoretical drive, a drive to be in this steady, constant, ongoing process, a never-ending process, if you may, that might get this INFJ labeled as slightly obsessive in a way. This is an INFJ that has come off as far more critical, far more analytical than the average INFJ, and an INFJ that is out of touch often with their more artistic side of themselves. The INFJ that can think in symbols and in images and in more spiritual language. This is the INFJ that in so many ways loses their communicative skills, becoming far less charismatic than the average INFJ, becoming in many ways the unintentional enthusiast, the person that comes to get a lot of respect as an expert and as highly intelligent, and that comes to become very persuasive without trying to be. This is also the INFJ that loses some of that determination and focus in return for heightened creativity and open-mindedness. These INFJs will be more open to different thoughts and different perspectives, seeing things from many different angles, juggling different perspectives, but lacking a solid vision, a solid, strong core ideology, a core vision that they work towards. With the academic INFJs, there is an urge necessary to talk about, an urge to communicate yourself, to be understood by others, an urge to change the world through what you learn, to go into academia, to find something and to communicate it to the world, to bring it up to people and use it to transform the world in some way or form. So most INFJ academics are drawn towards public speaking, politics, or some area where they can champion the issue that they have been exploring. They are just as much politicians as well as they are academics. Now the final INFJ I want to show you is the artistic INFJ. I'm talking about Bob Ross and Pablo Picasso and INFJs that have really channeled themselves into the field of art to understand who they are, to understand what their most inner feelings are, to understand symbolism, to understand the world from a symbolical perspective, to communicate who you are, to get an idea of what you need and what you find important, to express yourself without needing to use words, but rather through using colors and richer and often more nuanced language to communicate yourself. This is the kind of INFJ that feels that language to some extent spoils that self-understanding, and that the only path to self-understanding is through symbolism, through metaphors, and through a deeper level of self-exploration. And now these ISFP-like INFJs are in so many ways the Buddhas, the spiritualists, the artists, the people that dive deeply into their inner self and that find some form of religious or spiritual epiphany, some form of artistic or spiritual or intrapersonal self-revelation. Now the thing about these ISFP-like INFJs is that they tend to carry on to this stronger, Hulk-like version of themselves. They are the INFJs that speak about how they can at any moment blow up, explode. They talk about dealing with issues of anger and issues of aggression in some form, because often this sensitive side is also balanced against this stronger, more aggressive, ENTJ-like side. Now, all of these INFJs are driven by different things, and you'll find that the ENTJ-like INFJs are the most driven by the sense of dissatisfaction, like they are never truly pleased by anything they do. Like no matter how hard they keep pushing themselves, they never find that sense of satisfaction over what they do. And the INTP-like INFJs, they have that experience that there is this gnawing anxiety and this sense of feeling of inferiority. Like no matter how much you learn or how much you practice, you feel on some level like you are less capable than other people. And so you need to study more to get better. And INFJ towards the ESFJ-like side, they have this crippling shame, this feeling of being awkward, of not being liked enough, of not being entertaining enough for others. Now finally, the ISFP INFJ, the biggest issue is this feeling of being constantly misunderstood by others, the feeling that their work isn't received properly, that other people don't get them, that other people don't see them deeply enough. Now, maybe all of you all are hungry to know your subtypes. Maybe you're curious to learn about what your core drive is and how you have developed as an INFJ, ENFP, or whatever personality type you are. If you are, do send a contribution of at least $10 on Patreon or on my website. I will give you the links in the comments field down below, so do check it out, and thank you all for watching this video.